1 year ago on July 12th of 2019, SpongeBob's Big Birthday Blowout aired on Nickelodeon. This special marked the 20th anniversary for SpongeBob Squarepants, who is arguably one of the most popular animated characters of all time. In those 20 years, SpongeBob had aired 12 seasons consisting of over 250 episodes. Many people believe that the series began its decline in quality after the release of its first theatrical film in 2004, which was also when Steven Hillenburg departed from the series. However, what some may not know is that Hillenburg would continue to be credited as executive producer from season 4 to 12, but his role was much less involved. Furthermore, he would receive this credit for every episode regardless of whether or not he contributed with its development, basically making it a vanity credit rather than an actual one. Unfortunately, in 2018, Hillenburg passed away due to complications linked to ALS, but his legacy lives on in SpongeBob, and with the release of SpongeBob's third theatrical film in 2021, I wanted to take this opportunity to finally release a long-awaited video for the channel. Some of you may remember back in 2019, I had planned to do a reaction and review for SpongeBob's Big Birthday Blowout, but that video was never released. I had recorded my reaction and review but never got around to editing the footage, so now 1 year later, I wanted to finally finish the video and release it. So if you want to see my full reaction to this special episode, then please head down to the top of the description where you'll find a link to my reaction on Google Photos. Then when you're finished watching that, you can feel free to come back over to YouTube to watch my full in-depth analysis and review of the episode where we'll figure out if this is the best episode of SpongeBob Squarepants. We begin this special as any good special should, and that's with Patchy the Pirate, who's getting ready to set off on his journey to deliver SpongeBob's birthday present. Then we transition to Bikini Bottom, where SpongeBob is woken up by his alarm, and where Gary gives SpongeBob a somewhat slimy jellyfishing net, which he loves nonetheless. We're then taken to Patrick's place, where Patrick, Sandy, Mr. Krabs, Mrs. Puff, Bubble Bass, and some old guy are planning SpongeBob's surprise party. Patrick is entrusted with the job of distracting SpongeBob for the day by taking him on a trip to Surface Land. Plankton retrieves SpongeBob keys, where he discovers the key to the Krusty Krab, but before he can flee with the key, he is stepped on by Mr. Krabs, who then lets the group into SpongeBob's house to begin setting up. This cow is also shown, but I'm not sure why, so let's just check in on SpongeBob and Patrick, who are departing to Surface Land. This is where we are introduced to the tour guide and bus driver Rube. He proceeds to read through an extensive list of rules while SpongeBob and Patrick simultaneously break each rule. Now logically you may be thinking, how are a couple of sea critters going to reach Surface Land? Well, obviously the only plausible way is with the help of Sandy's friend Frenchie, who gives the group a boost using his submarine. Unfortunately for everyone's favorite celebrity cameo in the series, David Hasselhoff, who is minding his own business before the submarine turns his canoe right over. Moving on, the tour bus has now made it successfully to the surface, where they stumble into one of the weirdest parts of the episode, which is the Can O' Beans beach party. I'm not going to go super in-depth about this sequence because I don't believe I could properly explain what is taking place. Nevertheless, people are drenched in beans, and Patrick gives into his bean-loving impulses and drives the group straight into a pie dragon, aka a dog that attempts to eat our tour group, but luckily they escape. After this, we transition to the party planning committee, which is trying to decide on a theme for the party. Sandy wants a karate theme, Squidward wants an art theme, Plankton wants a torture theme, Mrs. Puff wants a boating school theme, Mr. Krab wants a Krusty Krab theme, and Bubble Bass wants a Mermaid Man theme, which would be my personal favorite choice. We then return to the tour bus, where they continue their journey through the park and almost run into Patchy the Pirate, literally. Meanwhile, more and more guests are showing up to SpongeBob's party, and let me tell you, there are a lot of cameos. The tour group is now heading to an office, because who wouldn't want to explore an office? I mean, they seem like fun on TV. Now, this office is no ordinary office, and is actually a paperclip jungle where the employees wear gorilla masks and a dog walks on two legs. I know, this part is about as weird as the Can O' Beans party. Finally, after this long but fun journey, we arrive at the trusty slab. I kid you not, when I saw that sign, I immediately filled with excitement, and then Patrick, who unlike me could not contain his excitement, decides to commit a murder. Oh wait, it's only ketchup. For a second I thought this episode had taken a dark turn. Even earlier in the episode, SpongeBob states, "I thought this was my birthday, not my death day." And on that note, let's go back to the trusty slab. We see Patrick attempting to order a slabby patty from Manward, who seems to be annoyed by Patrick's indecisiveness. Mr. Slabs enters and makes the order for Patrick, and then goes back to inform Jim Bob of the order and to start working. Tom Kenny, who of course plays SpongeBob, does an absolutely amazing job capturing his live-action counterpart Jim Bob. I really love his enthusiasm. It really does feel like if SpongeBob was a person in our world. SpongeBob is then mistaken for some cheese, but Patrick rescues him by retrieving the patty he was placed on. Now that Patrick has rescued SpongeBob, the group proceeds to feast on the patty that SpongeBob was stuck to. Meanwhile, Plankton enters the trusty slab and wants the super secret sauce, but before he can do anything, Sandy karate chops Plankton and Mr. Slabs throws him out. Patchy appears briefly, but just for a potty break, and now it's time for our tour group to head home, but they are distracted by a tropical fish sale, and before they know it, a woman picks them up and puts them in the store. A fun fact is that the actress is actually the voice of Pearl, so it was really cool to see her in live action. We quickly cut back to SpongeBob's Pineapple, where everyone seems to be exhausted from all their partying. Then we're brought back to the tour group where Patrick is flirting with a very odd-looking fish, so I guess Patrick has moved on from Princess Mindy. Before their grand escape from the store, they decide to take the extra fish with them, so of course, thus ensues a makeout session between Patrick and his new fish girlfriend. I know, this was not where I expected this episode to go either. After this, they proceed to return back to the beach where we see the Pie Dragon now training his owner, so I guess that's a thing. The tour bus then runs over David Hasselhoff's feet, which he blames Patchy the Pirate for, and then we see our group return to the ocean where Patrick must say goodbye to his new fish girlfriend. I'm not sure why any of that was included if it was only going to end with separating, but hey, let's see what Patchy's up to. Patchy is trying to figure out how to get to Bikini Bottom, so Potty suggests using the conveniently placed cannon because you can find one of those at every beach. Nevertheless, they get in and launch to Bikini Bottom when we see SpongeBob finally return home. The old man is waiting and attempts to alert the party planning group that SpongeBob is back, but before he can, Patrick launches him into a fiery explosion, which at this point, nothing surprises me, and I suppose this means he does really get to commit a murder by the end of this special. So I guess it was someone's death day, right, SpongeBob? SpongeBob then enters his destroyed home where everyone looks pooped until a giant present drops out of nowhere containing none other than Patchy's severed head. I guess I know what I want for my birthday. Finally, the episode finishes with everyone singing a not-so-official rendition of Happy Birthday, and we have the pleasure of seeing Potty's head attached to Patchy's body, and on that note, I believe this plot analysis is complete. Alright, so to conclude this review, I'll now answer the question of whether I think this is the best episode of SpongeBob Squarepants. And honestly, I don't think so. There are just parts of this episode that don't fit very well and kind of slow down the pace. These include the Cano Beans party and the trip to the paperclip jungle. These sequences didn't feel necessary and I would have preferred if they were cut from the episode. On the flip side, this episode has some really fun moments, and getting to see the cast play their live action counterparts was super cool to see. It's also a treat to see cameos from a variety of characters that longtime SpongeBob fans can really appreciate. Overall, this episode was well done and is a great way of celebrating SpongeBob's 20th anniversary, but for me, it just doesn't compare to some of my favorite episodes like Chocolate with Nuts, Pizza Delivery, and many others. Let me know your thoughts on this episode and what you think is the best episode of SpongeBob Squarepants. Thanks so much for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, then I would appreciate it if you could leave a like and also subscribe for future content. Other than that, I hope you all have a great day, and always remember, keep on collecting.